Hello everyone, my name is Jon Hoffman. I'm the product manager of ESAB Digital Solutions, and in a few minutes we're starting this webinar on welding productivity with WeldCloud. So let's give everyone a little bit of time to join, and then we'll get started. Okay, so welcome everyone. As I said, my name is Jon Hoffman. I work as a product manager and product director of ESAB Digital Solutions. And today I'm going to talk about welding productivity and how to use WeldCloud to improve your welding productivity. This will be a 30 minutes webinar. We will have, I will do a presentation in the beginning and then in the end leave some rooms for Q&A. So if you have questions during the webinar, please post them in the Q&A section and we'll address them to the best of our ability. So to start off with, there are a lot of different challenges affecting our industry, our fabrication industry. And what we at ESAB Digital Solution is doing is addressing these through a digital offering. These types of challenges can be productivity bottlenecks or high production costs, cost of poor quality, rework and scrap, high cost for administration or regulatory compliance. It could be equipment failures and downtime, and it can be, as I guess many of you can recognize, difficult to find and retain skilled welders. But there is also challenges in managing large fleets of welders and equipment. Addressing these challenges is something we cannot do by sort of just providing, good and better hardware. And as a provider of welding products and services, we recognize that we need to add in a digital dimension in addressing these bottlenecks and these challenges at our customers. And today, the main focus for this webinar will be focus on productivity and productivity bottlenecks, but also then production costs issues that our customers are facing. So that is what we will mainly focus on today. ESAB Digital Solutions offer spans across both welding and cutting. We have on the welding side, we have a product suite that we call WeldCloud. That today contains 3 different applications or products. The first one is WeldCloud Notes. Some of you might have signed up for the webinar we had last week, where Tiago Pereira presented how to use notes to improve administration and of welding documentation. Today we will zoom in a little bit more on WeldCloud Productivity, which is the second application in the suite, and then we also have WeldCloud Fleet, focusing on managing fleets of welding equipment. On the cutting side, we have a software solution called CutCloud, as well as Columbus nesting software. Then for welding analytics, we have a solution called the WeldQS and Weld Scanner that provides really, state-of-the-art on-prem quality control systems. Lets you have complete control over if it's a good or a bad weld that you're doing. And sort of to complement a lot of this, we have a team called value-added engineering or value-added services that provides consultancy services to our customers utilizing these types of connected tools, where we help our customers increase capacity, reduce production cost, or improve welding quality. We see that a lot of customers these days are adopting digital tools. We can see that for mobile machinery customers and yellow goods, very much focusing on improving productivity and finding productivity gains. We also see that in other industries like structural steel or offshore, where maybe traceability is really high priority, and in other process and oil and gas industries where traceability is really the highest priority. That's those types of industries and those types of customers are quickly now starting to adopt digital tools as part of their management systems, more or less. And that's something that more and more customers, as we see it, are demanding. So it's becoming an essential piece of doing business, more or less. WeldCloud as a suite of product, or as a platform, is really, in essence, it provides a link between the welding equipment on the production floor, both ESAB, we connect both ESAB equipment, but also competitor products. All of this data is then provided to the WeldCloud Platform, which is built on Microsoft Azure platform. And on top of that, we create different types of applications. And today, as you see, we have 3 different applications: notes, productivity, and fleet, as I mentioned before. To this, we of course also can connect to third-party systems like our customers' ERPs or MES systems to access data in WeldCloud. So today I'm going to talk a little bit more about WeldCloud Productivity, one of the products in the portfolio, and the main purposes or reasons why you use this product is to improve your welding productivity. It also helps you with improving your traceability. You can see all of your welds there, but really the main focus is to drive welding productivity improvements. The target user can of course be anyone that is interested in productivity gains, and normally a typical type of customer or user of this system is a production manager, a welding responsible, or perhaps a quality manager. But what I will do today, I will sort of not necessarily go into each and every feature of WeldCloud Productivity, but rather talk about sort of how you as a customer can go about sort of improving your welding productivity, utilizing digital tools like WeldCloud Productivity or others to improve your productivity. So what I will talk about and how this webinar is structured is through this 5 different steps, where we go through how sort of a productivity improvement initiative can be driven. So the first step, formulate the problem and the objectives that you have with what you want to do. The second step is to measure the performance and identify potential bottlenecks that you have in your production. Number 3 is to identify the improvement opportunities that you might have then. 4 is to implement those changes. And 5, which is often forgotten but very important, is to sustain these improvements over time. And what we will do in the coming during the coming presentation is more or less to go through each and every step here. So the first step is to formulate the problem that you have and the objectives or purpose of this initiative. So what do you want to do? Do you want to sort of increase your capacity, reduce production or product cost or project cost for that sake, or reduce working capital, or other things that you want to address? And this is important, of course, to understand what are the things that you want to really achieve. So it's important to take the time to formulate that. What are your objectives? What do you want to reach with this initiative? As an example, to where improving or reducing cost, to understand how sort of big the potential is in reducing product cost and production cost, is to just look at how different productivity metrics affect annual costs per welding station. So for manual welding, we talk about two different types of metrics that we use. We talk about arc time factors, and we talk about net deposition rate. For manual welding, our main focus is often to look at the arc time factor. That is improving how much time you're actually welding, how much productive welding time you actually have. And just improving the arc time factor with a couple of percentage points can lead to quite big annual savings. So what we can see from customers starting to utilize WeldCloud is that a 3 percentage point improvement from 10 to 13% then, for example, that is often sort of very much achievable and something that we on average more or less do, which then leads to, depending on the cost that you have for labor and so on, it leads to an annual cost saving of around 14,000 euros, which you then, depending on how many welding machines that you actually have, then you can multiply. So it becomes quite substantial numbers. For robotic welding, we often then focus more on the net deposition rate. It doesn't mean that you can't increase the arc time factor, but the net deposition rate is then how much welding material that you're actually depositing into the weld per hour, and that's often the main focus for automatic or robotic improvements. And improving the net deposition rate by 20% is often something that is very much achievable, and as you can see here, it's quite dramatic cost savings of around 25,000 euros per welding station a year. So with that said, I mean, it's important to have been to formulate that problem and the objective that you want to achieve. Is it cost savings? Is it capacity increase? That is sort of improving the how much you actually can produce, or is it working capital reductions or something else? As I So the next step then is to measure the current performance and identify bottlenecks. And I mentioned these sort of key productivity metrics before, the arc time factor and net deposition rate. Arc time factor then is your total arc time that you have divided by your total available time. So this means sort of how much of the time that you have available are you actually welding. If you combine that with your net deposition rate, that is how much weld metal you're depositing into each weld joint, divided by the welding time, you have a really good 360 overview of your welding productivity. And these are also then the key metrics that we use in WeldCloud Productivity for tracking and following up the welding productivity. So what do you do? As we were on the second step here to measure the current performance and identify bottlenecks. If you don't have connected systems, of course you can do this manually, but then that effort becomes quite big. If you have a connected system connected to a system like WeldCloud, you can track and follow trends. You can compare performance between sites, shifts, welding stations, and so forth. And with that, you can identify the bottlenecks that you have in your production. Say that one welding station is performing, worse than another, or the other ones. Then you know that this is maybe then something to look deeper into and understand more why that is. You can also utilize the activity timeline function to see how the pattern that you have on each station, more or less, how that looks like. When are you welding? When are you not welding? And what's the reason for that? Maybe there are big gaps somewhere, and that's sort of a good way to understand and look at more where you might have issues. So that's the second step. Measure the current performance, where you are, and identify bottlenecks. And the important thing here is, of course, to do this before you actually start doing something, so you understand where you are today. What is your current performance level today? And things to look for then. What might be the current issues that you're having? So you can look for issues like not optimized material flow, material shortages at the welding station, too much or unnecessary grinding operations, splatter cleaning due to low quality wire, or variable part tolerance of ingoing materials, leading to gaps and so on that each welder then need to more or less fix. Tacking fixtures that are not optimized, or an easy thing such as sort of shortage of available tools, so leading to that the operator need to wait for them to be available, or waiting for other stuff like lifting cranes and forklifts. So these are things that you can look for at the production floor. And then, of course, utilizing this to identify improvement opportunities, and that could, of course, be improvements in welding procedures that you have, switching welding process to something else. Then looking for materials such as welding materials, and if you're using sort of wire that is of low quality or something like that. How your factory logistics, internal factory logistics looks like, if there are things that you can do there. Of course, taking steps toward automatization or robotization can be maybe then a bigger initiative to do, but still something to look at. Pre-welding activities, tack welding, such as or other things that you need to do before the actual welding activity, influence downstream. How your welding station is, how the layout of that looks like. tools availability, as we talked about, and then of course post-welding activities if there are things that you need to do there. And of course there are other opportunities to look for. But when you have sort of listed all of these opportunities that you might have, it's time to sort of start looking at implementing changes. And what is important then is, of course, to prioritize. Start with the low-hanging fruit. Start with the things that have a big impact and that doesn't sort of cost that much or take that much effort. So really prioritize the low-hanging fruits. Prioritize the ones that brings the best result and with the lowest efforts. And then you implement. And what is important then when you implement changes is to do it one change at a time. So don't try to sort of do everything at once, but try to do, implement one change at a time and make sure to follow up those improvements that you have done, so that that you actually see that they are actually you're getting the result that you want from it. And then you do that, of course, sort of implement those changes one by one, as working down that list. And when you're done, you need to, of course, sustain those improvements. And what is important here is to continue to measure your performance. That is sort of set up daily or weekly or whatever might be a good cadence for you as a company. Daily or weekly reports. In WeldCloud, we have a function called report subscription, where you can easily get your reports handily for you. And of course, if you see that it starts to deviate from the current level, you need to, of course, take additional actions. Maybe there were some things that you didn't do, or there were things are starting to deviate, and that's when you need to take action. So phase number 5 is equally important, and to making sure that you keep and over time improve your welding productivity. 2 customers that has worked with this and done successfully so is a company in Finland called Sarla. A couple of years ago, they implemented or installed a number of Aristo MIGs from ESAB, equipped with WeldCloud, and over time they have successfully increased their welding productivity, utilizing a standardized process to improve productivity. And now they have sort of visibility. They get visibility into where they might have problems, and they can then do really something about it. One example that they have mentioned is that, for example, they found out that the tools that they needed, easy tools that they needed on the welding station, wasn't available for them. So just making sure that each welding booth was equipped with the right tools increased their productivity significantly. And they now average 20% arc on time for manual stations, which is really good. Another company is ADR. It's a Italian company with production facilities in Poland and in other places as well. They are producing axles for commercial vehicles, mobile machinery, and agriculture machines. They have also sort of utilized WeldCloud Productivity, and are doing that, by using that frequently to track the welding productivity, and frequently addressing things that causes them sort of low productivity. They have actually managed to increase their welding time per month by 400 hours, which is really amazing. So these are two great examples for how to work with productivity improvements in a structured way. So now we have gone through these 5 different steps: formulate the problem and the objectives, measure the performance and identify the bottlenecks, identify improvement opportunities, implement the changes, and then sustain the improvements. And I hope that you have found this interesting. If you want to find out more about this, you can go to esab.com/WeldCloud to learn more about WeldCloud. You can visit esab.com/VAE to learn more about value-added engineering. And with that, I leave the floor for if there are any questions.
Jon, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So there are a couple of questions already, and I'm just gonna read it out to you and you answer each one. So first question is, how is productivity measured? What is the main metric and how is it calculated?
Okay, very good questions. The 2 main metrics that we use in WeldCloud Productivity today is arc time factor and net deposition rate. And arc time factor, there are other metrics as well, I would say, that you can use, such as number of welding sessions and so on. But these two metrics is really sort of fundamental in welding productivity. So arc time factor is how much of your total available time that you actually have your arc on. So if you're actually welding for 2 hours of an 8-day shift, that would be that you have a 25% arc time factor, for example. Net deposition rate, on the other hand, is a metric showing how much, when you're actually welding, how much weld material are you depositing into your weld? Because you could be welding a lot of time, but you're actually not being so very productive. So net deposition rate is the other one.
All right, thank you. The second question is this a cloud-based software or can it be installed on premises?
This is a cloud-based system. So today, we're not providing any on-prem installations. We really believe in the cloud solution, where we can, in an easy way, provide new functions and features to our customers. It also provides sort of the benefits with that a customer sort of that is buying a subscription to WeldCloud, if and uses the tool, you pay for what you use, and if you're not using it, want to use it anymore, then you can just sort of stop with the subscription. So we really believe in this cloud solution. It means that we, in an easier way, can bring out new functions and features to you as customers.
All right, it seems like there are no further questions. I would suggest anyone who might have a question later on, just contact through the links that Jon showed on screen. But yeah, I would like to thank everyone for attending. And Jon, any final words?
No, thank you very much, Thiago, and I hope that all of you found this interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing more from you guys. Thank you very much for today. And with that, I'll conclude the webinar.
Thank you.